So, as far as collections are concerned, a collection, the way we've described it to ourselves and in our documentation before, is it's kind of like a stored search. And so what that means is that you can basically set up a search term or a set of search terms that will return content from your site into a list or a collection, as we call it in this case. And then you can use that collection. You can either display it as is, or you can include it in a portlet that will show the results of that collection. So a couple of uses that have been common for them. Well, one that you might see on your sites and a lot of people have is for news that's listed on their site. So you can see, for example, on this testing site I have here, there's a news portlet here, and this is there's a, oh yeah, you were the one that I did that for, so, and that's where that question comes from. Yeah, and I think this might actually be the test one that I made to make sure that what I was telling you would work. And excuse me. So what it allows you to do is to create a customized list of content that's a little bit more, that's I guess it's more, you have more control over it than you would otherwise in other things like a news portlet. Like, for example, the reason we made that using a collection was so that we could get rid of the publishing dates, because the way they were displaying was confusing. So when you're creating a collection, and you can call it anything you want, and just say, I'm going to use this one to look for a certain type of events that are happening in my library. And so what happens is you come down here to the search terms area when you're in the, sorry, so yeah, so I went to the green edit bar, clicked add new, and clicked collection. And then I can select criteria, and you'll have a whole bunch of different stuff that you can choose from. And these are all kind of details about content items that are on your site. So I want to look for events, so I'm going to select type as my first criterion, and then I'm going to, and you can say, well, I guess is the only option here, but some of them will have like is not, or does not contain, or does contain, something like that. And I'm going to scroll down where, I know what order these are in. Okay, so I'm going to say event. So right now, as I've defined it, this collection is just a collection of events. And you can see in this preview, I've got 10 events listed here. Cool. Now say I want to have it be more specific. So let's see. I want to say, okay, there's, I want only events where the name includes the word club. And so now you can see that my preview updates again. And so I've had a list of my anime, knitting, and Lego clubs. And I want those. I can switch to say I want to show it in reverse order. So like the ones that are latest on the calendar showing up first. And well, let's see. So I don't want that. And then I'll say, what else do I want to do? Yeah, so I can also set, there's a bunch of different dates that you can use to set for your collection. And so I could even say clubs within the next, I'm not entirely sure how this is, I'm not sure what this within next, like what this 5 refers to. Especially, I don't know what day this website thinks it is. But, so maybe that one isn't the best to use there. Effective date. Within the next 30. and so I might say, it's an event that has a title like club within the next 30 days. So that would be like club meetings this month. And say I wanted to do that. And let's see. I'll clear that out so that we actually get some stuff here. So, and then you can find the max number of search results you want your collection to return. You probably wouldn't ever be messing with this. And then the number of items that'll show up in one batch. That's just kind of how many you get before you have to page through it. I probably wouldn't mess with that either. And then you can select what information about that content item you want to show. So by default, it'll show you the title of the event or the content item, who created it, what kind of thing it is, and when it was last modified. And then you can add some text here and say this is listing of club meetings coming up in the next month or so. And so if I save that, then it creates this collection, and what you get is just a straightforward list of all of those things that are happening when they're happening, and you can change the display if you'd like to. I'm going to change to tabular view so that it looks a little bit more like a schedule, and so you can see. And again, you can change what information shows up in this table. These are just the defaults. You couldn't get it to not display the default values. I was worried about that. Let me see if I can. So, and I just published it just because I'm fine with it however it turns out on my site. Okay, let's see. All right. I'll just add some other. I'll take this modification date off. I'll put the creation date on and add this total comments. So not a huge change, but let's see if we can get that to show up. Okay, so let's see. So I'm seeing, so now I've got my creation date, my total comments. So I was able to see that. Now, it may be that in other views, you might not be able to. Yeah, see, so in this view, in the standard view, I'm not seeing the number of comments and stuff. Whereas in the tabular view, I don't think that you need to necessarily keep 4 in there. I mean, I added an extra one in here, so I've got 5, and it should. I mean, if you add too many, it may mess up how it displays, but it may look a little sloppy. But let me see if I take out everything except the title and the creator. Let's see what happens. Yeah, see, so it should update. Some views, some view settings up in this display may not work as well as others. I think for collections, the tabular view is probably the best because it gives you that list view. Whereas, see, I'm in summary view right now, and it shows you everything, but it shows it to you in a format that's not great for reading through. And the same for the all content view. And the thumbnail view wouldn't apply because that's for pictures. And so if you did that, it would look really weird. And so, so say I have this collection now, and now I want to take this and display it somewhere. Because right now it's just a collection that I put on my site. Like I'd have to go down and go to this page here. But what I can do is on my home page, if if upcoming club meetings are a thing that I want to keep everybody abreast of, then I can add a new portlet. So I can go down and click Manage Portlets in the middle of the page, and then add a collection portlet. And what that will do, I'll say upcoming club meetings, and then I'll look for my target collection. Let's see, and I know what it's called, so I can start typing that in. There we go. I'll say I only want the next 5 to show up, and I'll save. And so now I've got this upcoming club meetings portlet. And so if I click return to go back to my page and see it, and what I should see, yeah, so here I've got a list of upcoming club meetings. And so that's an example of just, you can use it to kind of filter down what you're showing in your portlets or on your pages. If what you're looking through is kind of a big list of, like, if you have lots of events going on in your library, or if you have lots of news items or lots of pages, whatever the case may be, if you want to be able to filter it down, then a collection is a good way to do that. And then you can display them in portlets all throughout your site. So does that help out? Is there anything else that you're wondering about portlets? Or sorry, portlets, about collections? You can create a link to it on any page you want. Yeah, I mean, you can always link to other content in your on your page, or on your site rather. And so I'll do that here. So I'm going to highlight this here, and then go to Insert Edit Link, and then say Upcoming Club Meetings, and select that. And so if I save that, then now I've got this link here. It says click here to see a list of upcoming club meetings, and when I click on it, it'll take me to my upcoming club meetings page, and that'll have all of my content there. And then another way you can use it, and I think this is what this is a standard one for a lot of them. So if you go to your news and events folder and you click on this news and announcements link, so you'll see, like, when we migrated your sites, this is what would happen. So you click on that, and it would say, oh, there's no page there. And that's because there was a collection that was set as the default, like the default item in your library news folder. And so I'm going to recreate that real quick in my news folder. So you can see I've got some news items in my folder, and I'm going to go add new collection. And I'm going to say, this is my library news collection, stuff that's going on around here. And then I'm going to go down to type, and I'm going to select news item. I'm going to say reversed order because I want to show latest ones first. I'm fine with the defaults for the rest of that. And so what I've got now is a collection of news items on my site. And I'm going to switch the view for it, just because I prefer that one. And then I'm going to publish it. And you can see that the URL up here is library-news-1. And when I was clicking on that link in my news and events folder, it was trying to take me to a collection just called news. So I'm going to go to my library news folder and rename my collection so that it'll work with that link. I could choose to edit that link and make it point toward the collection, but I'm doing it this way instead. So if I go to my library news folder and go to contents, then I can scroll down to my library news and click the checkbox, click rename. I'm going to say we're just going to call this news because that's what it was in the link that I want to be able to get there from. And so now I've changed that. So if I go to news and events, and I click on my link to take me there, now I see my collection results. And so if I want to make it so that whenever you go to your library news folder, you always see that first, I can actually go to my display menu and select change content item view as default view. I'll select my library news collection that I just created. And you can see when you have a collection selected as your default view, you have your display menu doubles up, and you can see that the folder, you've got your folder display and then your item display. So in the folder display, I've chosen my library news collection as the default view, and then in my item display, I've chosen that I want my collection to show up in tabular view. So that means whenever anybody goes to this library news folder, this is what they'll see, as opposed to like a list of content or some other page. So those are some ways to use collections in portlets, or linking them from other pages, or as default views for folders. And they're pretty customizable, so hope you can find some fun stuff to do with them. So it's 2 o'clock my time, so that's about it for today's open session. Thank you all for coming out to ask questions, and I'll post some of the short recordings of answers to these questions on the help desk, and we'll have another session on Thursday afternoon. So if you have any questions between now and then, I hope you can join us for that one. All right. And as usual, happy editing, and I'll talk to you all soon.